Hello and welcome to our school report. I am Lucas and this is Harry, and today we're reporting about education and how schools are constantly changing.
Many schools have been using modern technology to change school life for the better, such as our school, which has been using iPads to improve our learning.
The government is changing everything, in particular exams and grading, which have really had big differences made to them.
Our first story of the day is looking at the breaking news of how universities are changing in the future.
There has been a breaking report published today about the future expansion of English universities. The Guardian has investigated how universities will respond to the removal of a cap on students. 95% of Challoner's leavers move on to higher education or into a gap year. Almost half of all universities are looking to expand, which means more people can be accepted into universities of their choice. Russell Group universities taking part in the scheme include Queen Mary University of London, Southampton, Sheffield, York and Newcastle. These represent significant numbers to the Dr. Challoner's, as 7% of leavers students in 2014 went to Southampton University alone. By 2019, almost 50% of universities in Britain will expand, accommodating up to 45,000 pupils. However, many of the main universities say that they have already expanded, so have no plans to do so in the future. These include universities such as Oxford, Cambridge, Exeter and King's College. This is relevant to Challoner students due to the high aspirations of many of our pupils. The university expansion will allow more of the high graders to be accepted into great universities around the country. In Australia, a similar removal of the cap led to an explosion of full-time undergraduates. It follows up to the possible news that Labour may reduce student tuition fees to the lower threshold of £6,000 in the future. Universities is the final stage of a Dr. Challoner's pupils' education and a vital stepping stone into the real world. At our school, we have many students who are aspiring to go into universities across the country. News that access may be improved, whilst at a very early stage, may be positive for future Challoner students in years to come.
GCSEs have been changing for many years, from the O-levels of the past to the new GCSE 9-1 assessments.
Years 10 and 11 currently studying GCSEs with a much more modular approach to it, meaning that there is a lot more coursework. One of the main changes that will be made by the current Year 9s will be the introduction of linear courses, similar to the O-levels of the 80s.
The main changes will affect English, maths, sciences, history and geography. However, it isn't solely them and will have an impact on all the subjects.
There are some subjects to be removed from the GCSEs, like business studies and electronics, but there are lots of new ones to replace them.
These include cooking and nutrition and citizenship studies. Lots of these GCSEs that they are dropping will be replaced with a different, but in reality, a very similar course. For example, in the future, electronics won't be available, but engineering will.
Overall, these are changes made by the system to basically stop controlled assessments, which are to be seen as out of date and are making up way too much of the mark. It will happen over the next few years and completely change the face of British education, creating a whole new generation of students.
Sport in school is vital as it gives students the chance to learn new sports and exercise.
We will now see how sport has been changing and how it is affecting our students.
Challoner's has always had a competent and triumphant sporting community. Under 13 national club, success last year, Bug Scout triumph, and many top tens in cross country, only list a few. Challoner's past has encountered a vast amount of success, but what will the future bring?
I think that sport at Challoner's will only improve due to the improvements in all aspects of coaching and performance. However, this will also mean all other local schools will improve due to the same reasons. From the research I have done, smaller sports like table tennis and squash will become more apparent to children at DCGS.
I agree with Ben. However, isn't there a small possibility that school sport may deteriorate? With all this new technology like games consoles, the outside world may become less apparent to us. If people spend all their time on the Xbox and PlayStation, sport will become a thing of the past for the younger generation. Here's Ben for his interpretation.
Thank you, Joe. Let's think further into the future. Who knows what sport will bring to our school?
Let's just say it's a 2030. Sport in 2030 will hopefully be at a whole new and improved level with great coaching and super performances. From the research I have done, sport will be a bigger part of the younger generation's lives.
A study was done in 2006, 9 years ago, which showed that 24% of students from years 7 to 9 said that PE or games was their favourite subject. Much more recently, a study was done with the same age group that showed that an even higher figure of 33% of pupils said that PE was their favourite subject. This just shows us that even after many years, sport is still the predominant subject and getting more popular. So from this report, we now know the excellent sporting ability, past and future, of Dr. Challoner's. It's been very successful, with an exciting future to come.
In the past decade, technology has greatly improved and has taken a huge role in modern society, and now it is even in our classrooms. And here at Dr. Challoner's Grammar School, we have taken an extra step further in making our education closer to the future. Now, let's go and investigate.
So, how do you use iPads in your lessons?
Well, several ways, Rob. Internally in the languages classroom, we have got access to an online dictionary, so the students can access a dictionary wherever they are at their fingertips. We also use Google Classroom, so that means that students can hand in assignments to us electronically. And we also use apps like Voice Record Pro, where students are able to record their voices and hear them themselves and get instantaneous feedback from us as staff.
Do you think that iPads benefit learning?
Absolutely, yeah. From the research that we've seen and from the projects that we've done at school, there's been a massive engagement in learning with the iPads. For example, if we're using Google Classroom to serve as an example, students are more organised, they're handing in their work on time, which saves a lot of running around after students when they've forgotten to do their homework.
And also, do you think that iPads have improved grades?
Probably a little bit early to say at the minute. My initial gut instinct would be say yes. Certainly, as I said, in terms of organisation of students and of their work, I think certainly it's been an improvement. Time will tell in terms of grades. I'm actually pretty convinced that the answer will be yes, but ask me again in a year or so's time.
Thank you for your time.
Pleasure.
iPhones, iPads and iMacs. These tiny devices are coming to shape, reshape and revolutionise our lives. Without them, our lives would be almost incomplete. But just how much have we come to depend on technology in our day-to-day lives? Is it preventing us from being sociable people?
So, Gianluca, how have iPads affected your learning in school?
They've been very beneficial during research tasks because you have an unlimited amount of sources and an unlimited amount of information online.
And what's the best thing you've produced on your iPad?
A graphics project last year where I managed to make some football players look 3D on a book.
And are iPads, in your opinion, the way to go in school?
Yes, because you can have all your documents and all your work in one place instead of over a series of exercise and textbooks. Instead, you don't have to lug them around.
Have you found there to be any hindrances with iPads in school?
There have been a few, but those were ironed out really early at the beginning, and they happen a lot less than they do now.
Okay, thank you for your time.
As times begin to change and our society strives to keep up with the new technological advances, we can only imagine where the digital revolution will take us next. James and Dan, BBC News.
The government is changing everything for us.
As you can see, education has been changed and the effect on our students is great.
Hopefully, in a few years, the system will have been completely revolutionised and we'll be living in a new era of students.
Thank you for listening and we hope you learnt something.